Bob Bichette's introductory press conference just started. Plus, we're going to get to our latest reactions in regard to Luis Robert Jr. and what that could mean for this roster next on METS. All right, here we go. Let's get to this press conference. Bo's going to be taking the stage right.
Bob Bichette.
This just in. Literally. This just in. Literally. This is breaking. Bob Bichette to the Mets.
Bob Bichette.
That's fire.
Second next shot, Bob Bichette. What a swing from Bob Bichette.
Really good hit.
How can you not be excited? Finally adding a 300 player to this roster.
January morning, I don't know what will. Thank you. We'd like to welcome everybody, including the audiences on METS Social, SNY, and MLB Network. On the dais, we have the president of baseball operations for the New York Mets, David Stearns.
Wonder if they'll
Bob
talk
Bichette,
about the Robert trade.
Greg Gensky and Joe Mizzo from Viner Sports. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to David.
Thank you, Ethan. And
Let's see what
thanks
you got,
everyone for
Mr.
coming.
Stearns.
Good afternoon. It's an exciting day for all of us. I think it's probably an exciting day for Bo, as well as we officially welcome Bo to our organization. Bo's accomplishments and talents on the field are very well covered. He's one of the most complete right-handed hitters in our sport. Incredible knowledge of the game, incredible baseball aptitude. Anyone who's watched him for a long time sees that very, very clearly. And he intensely wants to win. And I think throughout this process, it's that intense desire to win that came through loud and clear, whether we were talking to Bo's representatives, whether we were.
I'll be pausing here and there and giving you guys my thoughts throughout the press conference. Interesting how this all started. You got to go back to the winter meetings. Nobody knew the Mets met with him.
Whether we were talking to Bo himself, it became very clear that that was the priority for Bo. Regardless of what position he was going to play, regardless of where in the country he was going to live, it was about winning. And I think our objectives are very well aligned.
Can we also say one other thing, too? They keep saying, oh, it's about winning for Bo. I mean, he was just in the World Series and left that team. We can call a spade here on the platform. Money talks. Everybody else knows what walks.
Line there. I want to thank Bo's representatives, Greg Gensky, Joe Mizzo, for their communication, their efforts throughout this process. Want to thank our owners, Steve and Alex Cohen, for their unending support.
I didn't say one thing. He talks. It is so boring. I'm sorry. I love you, David, dude. Do your thing, but you are freaking boring.
for our baseball operation. It's their commitment to our organization that makes days like this possible for all of us. I think all of us have been watching you for a long time, whether it's on TV, across the field, competing against you. And I think we're all going to enjoy it a lot more with Mets across your chest. So let's see how that looks.
Let's do it.
Has nothing to do with the 42 million reasons why he wants to be a Met. I will say, guys, I know a lot of people reached out to me about doing a jersey giveaway. I do a lot of the jersey giveaways when we sign big players and stuff. I'm not doing it for a guy on a one-year deal. Did it for Soto last year. Done it in the past for a lot of other players. I'm going to be doing it going forward, but Robert and him, let's see. And I will say this too. Can we just address something really quick? I am not 100% sold the Mets are out on Bellinger. I looked at the payroll earlier today. I tried to give you guys the most up-to-date stuff that I could find. From where I look, the Mets look like they're around $79 million on the current cap. And Jim Duquette, who, guys, I'm not going to make any promises, but things are looking bright. If you want to hear personally from Jim Duquette on this platform, he was talking about a $400 million payroll. Mets can make a trade, bring Bellinger in. I don't think they're totally out on it. And if Steve Cohen was sold that they need to make one more big move and he's the move, and everybody thinks that we're going to go out and get a starting pitcher, I'm not sold on that. I think they'll bring in somebody, but I'm not sold it's going to be the Peraltas. Mike Marino had it this morning that the Mets and Brewers were in discussion. Peralta's only making $8 million this year, and supposedly it was been centered around Brandon Sproat and Jet Williams potentially in a deal. We'll see if that curates, but let's keep it going.
And now some opening remarks from Bo.
Yeah, so it's very exciting to be here. This has been an exciting time for me. A lot of, several conversations with teams, several good conversations, but with a lot of prayer and conversation.
With a lot of teams, Phillies.
Conversations with my family and my agents and even some friends.
Did they get Bellinger? I don't know if you're trolling me here.
It was very obvious that I wanted to be a Met. Mr. Cohen and David have put together an organization that is looking to win every single year, has an opportunity to win a World Series every single year. And,
I'm not seeing
a
that
roster
anywhere.
that backs that up. And
trolls, man.
It's very exciting to be a part of the city, one of the best cities in the world, maybe the best city in the world.
Screw Toronto, screw Philly.
And all of that is something I've always wanted to be a part of. So excited to be here and excited to be a Met.
He's
Great.
like, I'm excited for my $42 million.
Two microphones, one on each side of the room. Please raise your hand and identify your
By the way,
media
hope the
outlet.
chat
and
is
your
doing
name.
well. Hope you guys are all
Start
well.
with Steve in the back.
If you live in New York, get ready, guys. Sunday, we're about to get the what slammed out of us with this snowstorm. And I'm one of those guys, I love snow, especially having a 2.5-year-old daughter taking her sleigh riding. I know it's nothing to do with the Mets, but today is a chill day. Today is a good day to be a New York Mets fan. That's how I look at it with this.
After a bunch of conversations with your family and representatives, this became a clear option. What was it about this organization, the conversations you had that made you notice it?
Yeah, I mean, my first priority is winning.
My first priority is winning. I just left the World Series team.
And
Let's be honest. The Blue Jays made their deals early. The season stuff. Where did they prioritize Bo? Long term, a lot of people thought he was going to get that 7 for $200 from the Phillies. Ends up settling for, let's be honest, it's a 1-year contract. Now, I think if he plays well for the Mets, they're going to extend him because he's only going to be 28 years old. They're looking for, star players long term. I think this year it's the short term because David wants to see where our farm's going to shape
this
out.
organization is doing everything they can to do that. The roster is great, like I said. And then on top of that, just playing in front of fans like this is pretty cool opportunity.
None other than when we're winning.
Yeah,
let's be real.
Excited to get out there.
Anthony Tacoma on MLB.com. Bo, obviously you haven't played over here. Obviously you haven't played third base as a professional. Just what was that conversation like when it was broached to you? Is that something
wearing Bobby
how open were
Ojeda's
you during
number?
the free agent process in general, and how do you expect that transition to go?
I was open to doing anything if it felt like the place I needed to be. And like I said, it became very clear that
I will see a few people in the chat saying that he's a better fit for the Mets than Tucker ever would have been. That's a good point. Tucker's mild-mannered. I'm not totally sure he'd be bad here, but Bichette could be a fiery guy, a leader in the clubhouse. I don't think Tucker fits that kind of mold. Not saying it's a bad thing to have, but clearly the Mets had clubhouse issues. We just had Mike Boom on. He talked about it, how Brandon Nimmo would have been upset if Lindor was named the captain. And I think a lot of bad things happened in that clubhouse last year, a lot worse than what we suspected. And Pum was the only one that had that report.
I wanted to be a Met.
Okay, Daniel. So they are in agreement on a deal.
I know you have a relationship with Marcus Semien.
What was the deal, guys? Let me know in the chat below. I don't have it pulled up. I want to know what Bellinger ended up getting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think my decision was based on Marcus, but it definitely didn't hurt. I mean, that was someone who taught me the ropes, showed me how to be professional, showed me how to go about the game, and someone I respect a ton, and definitely adds to the excitement to be able to play with him again.
Well, Bruce Beck from NBC4 New York, your ability to come through with runners in scoring position, is there something that happens to you? Do your eyes light up? Why do you thrive in those situations? And do you hope to show the fans of New York the same thing?
Of course I do. You know, to win ball games, you got to score runs, and that should really be the only goal of an offense is get runs across the board. So
5 years, $162.5 million. There are opt-outs after the second and third year for Bellinger, $20 million signing bonus, and a full no trade clause. Guys, I'll be honest with you. I wanted Bellinger. I'm not going to say I didn't, but he's the ultimate hit or miss because look at his away home splits. 900 OPS player at home, 700 on the road. And he's up and down every year. He would have been a final piece for me, sure, but he's not the piece. And I always said I thought he'd end up going back to the Yankees. He played very well at home. So, the Yankees got it done. So shout out to them. I like to dog on them, but they got their guy back at the end of the day. They're going to be running it back with pretty much the exact same team.
I don't know if my eyes light up or anything like that, but definitely probably get a little bit more focus. And, my dad taught me a lot about it. That's all I heard about growing up was driving and runs. So I've put a lot of work into it.
John in the back.
John Heyman for Bo. And anyone else who wants to answer, you have a very favorable opt-out option in there. And you're obviously going
leave it to Heyman to ask this.
Because you're almost 28, going to be 28. Should anybody look at this as potential one-year deal? How are you looking at this?
John, thanks for your question. Good
Smart man, point right to that agent.
afternoon, everybody.
Smart man.
We had a lot of conversations about the different structure of the deal, and Bo had his choice of long-term deals, shorter-term deals, opt-outs. I think the important thing to know here is he's coming here because he's committed to this team. His priority was finding a place where he felt like he could get better as a player and have a chance to compete for championships. And he's making this commitment to come here and hopefully for a long time. Certainly it was important, given his age, as you mentioned, John, that we preserve optionality. But his commitment is to the Mets. His desire is to be here. His desire is to compete for championships here.
And can I just say this? Can we stop? Don't compare him to Pete Alonso. The age difference, even the caliber of player. Bo's more consistent. He's had one down year. One. Career 294 hitter. Not saying anything bad against Pete, but if he plays well with the Mets this year and opts out, I have the full confidence in this team at 28 years old to retain him. This is not the Cubs with Tucker. It's not any of these other teams. It's not the Padres with Juan Soto, the Yankees with Juan Soto. You have Steve Cohen as the owner. And it's not like if you sign him long-term after this year, he opts out. Say you give him that deal he had with the Phillies. His AAV drops to $28 million a year and actually allows you to sign more players going into next offseason, depending on the new CBA.
Keith.
Hey, Bo. Keith Rad, Mets Radio. I think after the World Series, everybody was so excited watching Toronto put the ball in play, and that's kind of been your career. What do you hope that you can bring to this lineup, the rest of the lineup, as you have that same philosophy?
Yeah, I think my goal as a player, especially as I've gotten older, is just understanding who I am as a player, understanding who I am as a hitter, and then going out there and just being the best that I can be at that. And I think that just comes from, having my goal as being the absolute toughest out I can possibly be every single time I go up to the bat. And a lot of times, if you have that mindset, it becomes a little bit tougher to strike out. But I'm not striking out or not striking out is not my goal. My goal is to go up there and just be a competitive at bat every single time.
Strike, I agree with you. Bo will have a better year.
All right.
Shout out to all the
Before we,
members that are in here,
go
guys. You
down
want to get
into
your
the,
chats
group sessions here.
guaranteed to be read. Become a member down in the description. I always got to say that. Please like this video if you're watching it right now. I always forget to say
We'd
that.
like to
Grateful for you
invite
guys
the
being
Bichette
here.
family and
Very
Carlos
so.
Mendoza to the front to take some group photos. Once that's completed, the television stations will move to the front of the stage to do some group interviews, and the print media will move to my left.
So that's pretty much what you got for the Bo Bichette. Nothing staggering there. You saw the agent take the one question. You know, what do you expect the guy to say? He's being honest. He wants to be here. I think he wanted to go where the money's at. That's where all these guys are. You're not going to turn down $42 million a year for $28 million a year with the Phillies. And with that said, we'll get to some of your guys' comments really quick. Minnesota starts us off. Ray, thanks for the great hot stove coverage. Love you, buddy. Appreciate you guys being here. It is a toll, not going to lie to you guys, staying on top of all this stuff, whether it's on X, Facebook, over here, but I appreciate you guys all being here. Yeah, the Bellinger's kind of gone. Andre, what's going on, brother? Ray, keep up the great coverage, my friend. Wish they signed Bichette to a longer-term contract. He is the guy that could put it in with the core. I agree. I actually do think he's a core player. You could almost pencil him in because if he likes being here and the contracts are close, and I don't see Steve Cohen allowing him to run to Philly. I just don't. Tolo says Stearns uses the same press conference every single press conference, the same script. Yeah, that's funny. Bobby Ojita's number. Daniel says, Justice, do me a favor. You could feel free to leave and go watch it live on YouTube. This is my channel. So thanks for telling me how to run my channel. Appreciate it. I always say it to people. People are always like, oh, your channel's this, and this. And I encourage as many Mets fans as possible. Go start your own podcast and let me know how it goes. Wish everybody nothing but the best here, right? Let's see if we got any more. Yeah, Mike says Belly got the 5 years, 162. Absolutely, man. Look, we all knew he wanted to be a Yankee. You know, it is what it is. Klub says bring in Bader. I'm not saying a totally off the plate, but I would think they'd be more apt to bring in a lefty hitter. You just brought in two righties. You know, everyday players, when you're going around the field, you have Soto as a lefty. You know, obviously Polanco's switch, Lindor's switch, Simeon's right, Bichette's right. Your entire lineup is right-handed, depending if Carson Bench makes the team, which everything's pointing to it now. So, look, David Stearns cannot be wrong. He just cannot be wrong. But that's all I got for you guys today. We have a couple of guests lined up for later on in the week. Be sure to check in, have those notifications on, like, and subscribe. Thanks so much for sticking around. Catch you in the next one. God bless.